He showed up at his nephew's birthday party with a carefully wrapped gift and hope in his heart, only to have the door slammed in his face by his own brother. Cut off from the family he once called home, he's forced to confront the truth. What do you do when the people you love decide you're not family anymore? This is the story of heartbreak, quiet courage, and the search for belonging when the ones you need most turn their backs. Would you walk away, or keep trying to break through closed doors? Watch until the end, because sometimes, the most powerful family is the one you create yourself. I hadn't seen my nephew in over a year, but I still remembered the way his laugh used to sound when I swung him around in the yard. That goofy, uncontrollable kind of laugh kids only make when they feel completely safe. I used to be that person for him. That's why I bought the gift anyway. Spent 2 hours in the toy store, holding up different options, imagining what would make his eyes light up. Settled on a hand-carved wooden train set. He was obsessed with trains. The good kind too, not some plastic throwaway. I even wrapped it myself. Blue paper, silver ribbon. Dumb little star stickers for fun. I almost didn't go. I sat in the car for 15 minutes parked 2 houses down. Watching the streamers flutter in the wind, hearing the muffled bass of happy music from the backyard. Kids running around. Laughter. Normal. It took everything in me to step out, straighten my back, and walk up to the door. When my brother opened it, the first thing I noticed was that he looked older. Not in a tired way, more like hard. Like his jaw was set in stone. His eyes barely registered surprise. Just cold. "What are you doing here?" he asked, voice low but sharp. I held out the gift, smiling small. "Hey. I know it's been a while, but I wanted to give this to Jamie. Just for his birthday." He didn't even glance at the gift. His eyes didn't leave mine. "You're not family anymore," he said. "Please leave before you make a scene." For a second, I thought he was joking. I even let out this tiny, pathetic laugh. But he wasn't. I'm not trying to cause anything," I said. My voice was already shaky. "I just thought maybe it would mean something to him. He's 5. He probably doesn't even know why I haven't been around." He stepped forward, blocking more of the doorway. "You don't get to use him to worm your way back in. This is my son's birthday. Don't ruin it." "I'm not. Just leave." I looked past him. I could see the backyard through the hallway window. There was a bounce house. Little bodies bouncing. Laughter. Jamie's laugh? I couldn't tell. "I'm not here for you," I whispered. "I just wanted to give him this. That's all." He didn't move. Just looked at the gift in my hands like it was infected. Then he shut the door. I stood there for a long time. The ribbon on the gift had come a little loose, fluttering in the wind. I turned, walked back to my car, and sat there, staring at the steering wheel. My phone buzzed. A voicemail from Mom. "Don't start anything. Please. It's his day. Just let it go." I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat there, alone, holding a wrapped gift for a little boy who used to love me, who maybe still did. Who probably didn't even know I was out there. My brother and I used to be inseparable. He's 2 years older, but growing up, you'd never know it. I followed him everywhere, through muddy creeks, up splintered fences, into trouble. We had a secret knock on the wall between our bedrooms. 2 taps, 1 pause, 3 taps. It meant, "Are you awake?" Even when our parents were fighting downstairs, and they fought often, he'd knock that pattern, and I'd knock back. Then we'd talk about dinosaurs or outer space or whatever our brains could hold onto to drown out the yelling. I don't think either of us realized how much we needed each other until after Dad died. It happened just over 2 years ago. Massive stroke, out of nowhere. One minute he was planning his retirement party, the next we were standing around his hospital bed, not understanding how someone so loud, so big, could look that small. After the funeral, we all kind of fell apart in different ways. Mom went quiet. She started knitting obsessively, scarves in July, blankets we didn't need. My brother turned into stone. took over the estate, the bills, the responsibilities. I offered to help, but he waved me off. "It's fine. I've got it," he said. Every time. But I could feel him pulling away. I thought maybe it was just stress. Or grief. So I kept trying. I brought over food, offered to help with Jamie. He never let me stay long. Then the will came. Dad had split everything evenly, 50-50ths between me and my brother. But he left me one thing that wasn't financial: his record collection. All the jazz, blues, and old vinyls we used to spin together in the garage. It wasn't worth much, but my brother was furious. "You guilt him into that," he said, slamming a drawer shut. "You always had him wrapped around your finger." "What are you talking about?" I asked, stunned. "He gave you the house. I got vinyls." He didn't answer. Just muttered something under his breath and left. That was the start. The silence grew after that. At Christmas, I brought Jamie a plush train and a book. My brother never said thank you. Mom barely made eye contact. Still, I kept trying. Then I introduced them to Alex. We'd been dating for 8 months. He was kind, funny, the first person I'd been with who made me feel like I didn't have to hide pieces of myself to be loved. I was nervous. Introducing a same-sex partner to my conservative family wasn't something I took lightly. But I wanted to be honest. I wanted them to know me. Dinner was awkward. My brother barely said a word. Jamie liked Alex immediately, asked if he'd come play with trains. Afterward, my brother pulled me aside. "I don't want that around my son." At first, I thought I misheard. "That? You mean Alex?" "You know exactly what I mean." I stood there, stunned. Like someone had sucked the air out of my lungs. "He's a good man," I said. "And I'm not going to hide who I am to make you comfortable." He looked me dead in the eyes. "Then don't come around anymore." I waited for Mom to say something. She didn't. And just like that, my entire family became people who looked away when I entered a room. The silence after that dinner was louder than any fight we'd ever had. For months, I replayed the conversation with my brother in my head, each time wishing I'd said something sharper, something that would have forced him to see me, not just his anger. But every attempt to reach out died in his unread messages and ignored calls. At first, Mom kept trying to smooth things over. She'd call, always at odd hours, always with a slight tremor in her voice. "He just needs time," she'd say. "He's under so much pressure. You know how he gets." I'd nod and say I understood, but the knot in my stomach told a different story. I sent Jamie a birthday card. It came back, marked, "Returned to sender." That stung more than I'd admit. Meanwhile, Alex tried to help. He baked cookies with me at Christmas, ones we'd planned to bring over, just in case I got an invitation that never came. He helped me when I broke down, whispering that he loved me, that I wasn't the problem, that I deserved better. The thing is, I started to believe him. I started to see the cracks in my family weren't all my fault. But that didn't make the holidays hurt less. The worst was Easter. I was used to being left out by then, but Mom called, her voice shaking. "It's just easier if you don't come. For your brother. For Jamie. He's confused by all this. Maybe next year, okay?" It was always next year. Alex tried to fill the gaps. We went on day trips, made new traditions, but the ache in my chest wouldn't quit. The ache for my old life, the family dinners, inside jokes, the secret knock on the wall. Then came the message that changed everything. One day in late spring, I got a text from Mom. Just one line. "Your brother's right. Maybe it's best you keep your distance." I stared at it until the screen went dark. I never felt more orphaned than I did in that moment. Not even after Dad died. After that, I stopped reaching out. I blocked their numbers for a while, just to see if I could stop hurting. But you can't block memories. They show up everywhere, in the train whistles on Saturday mornings, in the taste of ginger cookies, in every blue ribbon tied around a birthday gift. Months went by. Alex and I broke up, not because of my family, but because loving someone else couldn't fix the hole in my chest. I lost myself for a while, quit my job, started drinking too much, slept through weekends just to skip the lonely hours. I'd see Jamie's face in dreams, always laughing, always running toward me. I'd wake up and remember, I wasn't family anymore. I wasn't allowed. But somewhere inside, a stubborn part of me survived. The part that used to knock on my brother's wall, hoping he'd knock back. The part that believed, stupidly, maybe, that love could be enough. That's why, a year later, I found myself holding a wrapped train set in my hands, staring at my brother's front door. I sat in the car for a long time after my brother slammed the door. The blue paper on the train set was starting to wrinkle under my grip, sweat pooling in my palm. I couldn't make myself drive away, not yet. I stared at the front window, half hoping I'd see Jamie, just a glimpse, as if maybe he'd sense I was there. But all I saw was my own reflection in the glass, distorted and small. I scrolled through my phone without seeing the screen. I still had Jamie's baby pictures saved, his first steps, the way he clung to my neck the first time he met me. The last one I had was from the Christmas before everything fell apart. He was 3, sitting on my lap, his fingers sticky from candy canes. I remembered the way he'd whispered, "You're my favorite," and the guilt that slammed into me, even though none of this was my fault. I wanted to believe my brother would calm down, maybe text later, apologize for the way he'd acted. I told myself that for the first hour. I replayed our childhood in my mind, chasing each other with Nerf guns, hiding under blankets from summer storms, the way we used to promise. Nothing comes between us. The way we promised to always protect each other. I realized, sitting there, that I was the only one keeping that promise anymore. It was late afternoon by the time I finally started the car. I didn't know where to go, so I just drove. The gift sat on the passenger seat like a ghost. I ended up at a little park where I used to take Jamie when he was a toddler. He loved the swings, always begged me to push him higher, higher, until I was breathless and dizzy with laughter. The playground was empty. I sat on a bench and watched the wind move the leaves. I tried to remember if I had done something unforgivable. Was it really so awful to be myself? To want to share my life with someone, to bring them into the circle of my family? Was loving Alex enough to make me not family anymore? The egg sharpened. I called Mom. Straight to voicemail. I almost didn't leave a message, but habit is hard to kill. "Hey Mom. I came by today. I know you asked me not to make a scene. I didn't. I wish things were different. I miss you. I miss Jamie. That's all." I hung up before my voice cracked. I knew she wouldn't call back. I watched the sun sink behind the playground, painting everything gold and soft. I tried to imagine a future where this didn't hurt anymore. Where I could just breathe, where I could be happy without needing their approval, without needing to belong to people who didn't want me. I placed the wrapped train set on the bench beside me and took a picture of it, a little memorial, maybe, to Hope. I whispered, "Happy birthday, Jamie," and walked away, leaving the gift for someone else to find. In the weeks after the party, the world felt quieter. I stopped checking my phone as often, stopped waiting for messages that wouldn't come. I tried to focus on the little rituals that made up my days: watering the plants, feeding my neighbor's cat when she was out of town, cooking simple meals just for myself. But the ache didn't go away. It just settled in, dull and familiar. At work, I kept my head down. I stopped mentioning my family in casual conversation. When coworkers asked about my weekend, I'd shrug, say it was nice, and let the subject drift. I was tired of pretending, but more tired of explaining. Therapy helped, in fits and starts. My therapist told me I was mourning not just the loss of my family, but the future I'd imagined with them. It sounded dramatic at first, but she was right. I kept picturing myself at Jamie's school plays, at graduation, watching him grow up from the sidelines. Now, every memory felt like it belonged to someone else. Sometimes I dream about the old days. Not the dramatic moments, just the soft ones: morning cereal with my brother, Jamie curled up with me on the couch, Mom humming while she folded laundry. In those dreams, nothing was broken. I always woke up missing the version of us that didn't exist anymore. But bit by bit, I started reaching out to other people. A couple friends from college invited me for dinner. At first, I hesitated, feeling like an outsider at someone else's family table. But their warmth was real. I laughed for the first time in weeks. I joined a book club. I volunteered at a local animal shelter, walking dogs on Saturday mornings. I reconnected with Alex, but this time as friends, no pressure, just understanding. It wasn't a miracle cure, but it reminded me that the world was still turning, that there was space for me somewhere, even if it wasn't the space I'd always wanted. I'd see Jamie in public sometimes, a flash of blonde hair at the grocery store, a high-pitched laugh that made my heart leap. But it was never him. Still, I hoped. One rainy afternoon, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, just my name in careful, childish handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a drawing, a stick figure with spiky yellow hair, holding hands with a taller one. Above them, in crooked block letters, was my name. No note, no explanation. But I knew. I knew it was Jamie. I pressed the drawing to my chest and cried until I couldn't breathe. Maybe my brother had let Jamie send it. Maybe he hadn't. Maybe Jamie remembered me after all. It was enough to soften the hard edges of my grief. I realized, looking at that drawing, that love finds a way, even if it's only through a piece of paper, a flash of memory, a hope that refuses to die. After the letter, something in me shifted. The pain was still there, but I could breathe around it. Sometimes I'd catch myself smiling for no reason, just remembering the drawing tucked safely in my desk drawer. I started to hope again, just a little. Maybe I wasn't as invisible to Jamie as my brother wanted me to be. But hope is a dangerous thing. A week after the letter, my phone buzzed with a call from Mom. For the first time in months, I answered. Her voice was quiet, almost embarrassed. "I heard you stopped by the party," she said. I swallowed hard. "Yeah. I left a gift for Jamie. I didn't want to cause a scene." She hesitated. "Your brother was upset. He said you tried to force your way in. You know how he is about boundaries." A part of me wanted to scream. Instead, I just listened, letting her fill the silence with excuses and half-hearted comfort. "He's still hurting," she said. "About Dad, about everything. It's complicated." I waited for her to say, "But we love you," or, "You're still family." She didn't. Instead, she said, "Don't put Jamie in the middle. He's just a child." My throat tightened. "I would never hurt him. You know that." "I know," she whispered. "But your brother's the parent now. We have to respect his wishes." We. Not just him, her too. I felt the finality in those words, the heavy door closing. After the call, I went for a walk in the rain. My shoes soaked through, but I didn't care. I thought about all the birthdays I'd missed, all the moments I'd let hope trick me into believing things could go back to the way they were. It finally hit me, nothing I could do would fix this. My family had drawn a line, and no amount of love or patience or self-sacrifice could make them erase it. That night, I dreamed of the secret knock again. 2 taps, 1 pause, 3 taps. But when I knocked back, nobody answered. I woke up aching with the memory of that silence. In the following days, I tried to let go. I poured myself into work, into friendships, into anything that would remind me I wasn't just an echo in someone else's life. But grief has a way of circling back. Every so often, I'd open my drawer, look at Jamie's drawing, and wish things were different. Sometimes, late at night, I'd rehearse conversations in my head, what I'd say if my brother ever called, what I'd say if Mom showed up at my door. But I knew those talks would never happen. Letting go isn't clean. It's messy, slow. It's 1,000 tiny deaths, over and over, until one day you wake up and realize you're still here. You're still yourself, even if the people who raised you refuse to see it. The day I finally let go for real, it was almost by accident. I was cleaning out my closet, sorting through boxes I hadn't touched in years. I found old family photos, birthdays, Christmas mornings, beach trips before everything broke apart. In one, my brother and I stood side by side, grinning, arms slung around each other's shoulders. Jamie was on my hip, reaching for the camera with sticky hands. I sat on the floor and stared at that picture for a long time, letting the ache pulse through me. I could have stayed in that memory, but something in me finally said enough. I took the photo, slipped it into a drawer next to Jamie's drawing, and packed the rest away. I realized I was never going to get back what I'd lost. Not with my brother, not with my mom, not even with Jamie, at least not right now. Grieving it didn't mean I had to stop living. I could love them from afar, even if they'd chosen to build a wall I wasn't allowed to climb. I went for a walk, that same little park where I'd left Jamie's gift. The bench was empty, the playground silent except for a single red balloon tangled in the swing set. I sat down, let the breeze settle around me, and watched the sky. A little girl ran past me, clutching her mother's hand, laughing so hard she nearly fell over. I smiled. It hurt, but it felt good too, a sharp reminder that joy still existed, even when it wasn't mine. That night, I called a friend and asked if I could come over for dinner. I told them the whole story, beginning to end, and for the first time, I didn't cry. I just told it straight, the way you tell someone about a scar that doesn't hurt anymore. Days turned into weeks. I started spending more time with people who saw me, not as a problem to solve, but as someone worth knowing. I became a godparent to my friend's daughter, the first person she ever trusted to watch her overnight. I joined a support group for people estranged from family. We laughed a lot. Sometimes we cried. Mostly, we just listened. Every so often, I still look at Jamie's drawing, that single stubborn thread connecting me to the past. Maybe one day he'll find me. Maybe he'll remember the uncle who used to swing him so high he thought he could touch the clouds. Or maybe he won't. Either way, I know now I don't have to keep standing outside a locked door, waiting for someone to let me in. I have my own keys now. I belong where I am wanted. And that, finally, is enough.